who is Mr. B to me? Well, what isn't he? I mean, he's a teacher, a mentor, a role model.
And the lives of many students have been filled with hope and showered with thousands of reasons to embrace all aspects of life, all over the world, by a great teacher, a man named Steve Butsinas.
One of my teaching philosophies is to equip students with the life skills that they need to actualize their own calling. I believe that music education teaches students discipline, creativity, team before self, good communication skills, and determination or perseverance that they can use for their entire life, regardless of whether or not they ever become a professional musician. One of the ways that you can see this in my teaching career is the successful lives of my former students. Many of these got their start in my class. I believe that the lessons that they learned in orchestra class help prepare them for their careers.
Orchestra has taught me everything that I will use in my future because I have decided to attend East Carolina University as a music education major. Mr. B's passion for music has transferred over to me, and I will use that.
A second teaching philosophy that I have is that I strive to instill in my students process over product. It's important for me to not always work just for concerts. If I'm working for a concert, then the end result is short-lived. For me, what we do up until the concert is the most important thing. It's the process over the product. You know, I work hard to produce an outstanding product, but for me, it's not the end-all, be-all. I'm completely committed to the process. I often tell my students that no matter what the outcome is, as long as they've worked hard and that they've committed to the process, they're successful. One of the main byproducts of this commitment to process is our orchestra family. From the first day that we opened here at Grassfield High School, I started the orchestra family. To a student, every member of our orchestra program is part of that family. It gives them something to commit to and to be a part of. Over the last 22 years of teaching, I have experienced the orchestra family with all of my students.
We've really become a family over the years.
Yeah, we all came from like different schools, so it was really cool to see us all come together.
We have orchestra dinners, and we outside of concerts, and
whenever like somebody's hurt, like the whole group hurts for them, and like in Christmas or like all the holidays and stuff, we always have like good parties and celebrations. So it's a family.
One of my greatest challenges that I have faced during my teaching tenure is the catalyst that creates my proudest moment as a teacher. So I feel it's important for me to talk about the challenge before I talk about the reward. You know, I taught in a rural school in North Carolina when I first became a teacher. Actually, I taught in 7 schools at the same time. This particular school system was known for good academics and very strong athletic programs. The music program was not a priority, and funding for the program was tenuous at best. My 2 orchestra programs there had a combined 6 students in one and 4 in the other. I began to work on recruitment and created the orchestra family that I talked about earlier. I decided to combine the 2 arch-rival high schools to make one bigger orchestra. At first it was difficult. Arch-rivals, they did not want to be there together. But we promoted the orchestra family, the greater good, music, team above self. The group grew in numbers and in strength. Over the next 5 to 6 years, the group went from 10 to a combined over 80 students. While this was a huge step in the right direction, funding was still a major issue. I spent every spring for 5 springs standing before a school board that wanted to cut my program. Every year they had reasons why music education wasn't important. Reasons why students would be better served in other classes. And I stood with my orchestra board from both high schools and I said, that's just not right. Music is a key to a student's life. So I spent those 5 springs fighting for my program, giving them alternate ways that we could fund the program. And they kept my program. That program was never cut. And I believe that's been the greatest challenge that I ever faced. But from that group of 80 students was able to perform in New York City for a nationally known festival. This festival produced a national champion. We worked for months, actually 9 months to be exact. We worked after school, before school, weekends. Students committed to it because they were part of the family and they didn't want to disappoint anybody in the family. We worked hard, we went to that competition, and we won a national championship. This orchestra that just a few months before was going to be cut won a national championship. It's one of the highlights of my teaching career, one that I will never forget, when the judge came into our room after the performance and said these words. He said, "This group was a highlight of my career." My kids cried, we celebrated, and I know that their lives were changed from that day on. And they were changed because music education changes lives.